Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast in this reality. The show designed to challenge everything we've been taught. If you've ever felt there had to be more to life, more to existence, then you're listening to the right podcast. Time to open your mind and dive in. This is the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast.
And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Today is episode 322, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the government and taxation. I don't want this to be a long, drawn-out podcast. This one to me it's not even a knock or a mockery of the government, although it could very easily be. I'm blown away at the fact that we still abide by these rules and these regulations. I'm blown away at the fact that if anybody talks about them or says anything about them, you almost seem like the bad guy. Maybe I'm not blown away by that. I mean, simply watching Hollywood in any aspect, you see, I don't even know how to put it, like the sects of movie going. What's the proper terminology here? My brain's aloof, as it were. All of these movies that appear to be, anti-government, anti-this, anti-that, or the bad guy, or the government versus, or there's a small group of rebellious people, or there's a faction of those who are resisting the resistance. If you look at any of these, especially way back in the day when you first watched these movies, you're like, okay, well, I understand. We got to do these things, and these are very bad people. This is programming. Obviously, it's even called programming, television programming. We can go into that too, but we have 1,000 times over. So you're programmed to believe a certain thing about yourself, about your situation, about the world that we live in, but you're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to dig too deep without fear of ridicule. Guess from NPCs. I mean, it's a hard thing to state NPCs because it's almost derogatory. And who are we talking about that can or cannot function or understand or comprehend or think for themselves? And even that statement right there, as I say these things, you think, why am I not allowed to say or think or do? And if I hesitate or stutter a lot on this episode, it's because I'm really trying to pull something out of my brain that I haven't done all of the thinky thoughts on. Also, I've got a camera in my face, and it's very rare that I do that. So there's a little bit of nerve, I guess, on me as I'm trying new things and trying to expand. Where can we upload full episodes? The YouTube. All of this to me is, I mean, it's an if this then that. It's an indicative scenario. It is a connection. My brain connects all these dots. I see the propaganda. I see and comprehend the idea and the need for the programming. I understand that we're not supposed to think too far outside the box. I understand these things, but at the same time, I can sit back and say, hey, if you work hard in this society, you're going to get paid and rewarded, and you're going to get this and you're going to get that. And you're just going to have to work harder if you want more. And it doesn't matter that inflation's going through the roof. If you want more, you just have to work harder or smarter or something. And there's another saying too that goes, all of the things that you thought were drowning you were literally teaching you how to swim. And I think that's amazing too. I don't want to look at this as a negative. I don't feel that it deserves that kind of attention. I don't feel that we should be afraid of this shit. I feel that it's got to get to the point of asinine absurdity for us to make a move, for us to comprehend that we don't need to be in this situation anymore. And I'm not talking about everybody, right? There are people out there that they just blindly do as they're told and they're happy about it. And I'm a boat rocker and I'm a terrible person. I understand that too. I understand that. Those people aren't necessarily listening to this show. they'll pop onto the Instagram and chirp all they want, but hey man, any engagement's good engagement. And there was a time too where I wasn't sure of what I was saying, or I was 100% being attacked by the machine, because the harder you press against the machine in any way, shape, or form, the harder it pushes back. One of the greatest lessons I learned early on was when or how you speak changes what you say. So the tone in which you deliver and the time in which you deliver something changes its perception, its message, its idea. I like this. I would say things and people would attack me. Those attacks allowed me to alter my message. I didn't want to be attacked, but at the same time, I was speaking in such stern tone that I wasn't leaving room for anything else, which made me sound absurd, no matter what my message was. And I believe this to be true for so many accounts that are trying to push and project a message. What you're trying to tell me is 100% accurate, but it's not. We live in a world where every single person has their own experience and their own perspective, which means everything that they do is different than you in the slightest of ways. So there's no need to vehemently demand that people see things your way. And I don't want people to see things my way. If anything, I want people to ask questions. This is a topic. This is a message about our government. Not so much the government itself, but the idea that you and me, John Q. Public, we have to sit here and abide by rules that were handed to us at birth. None of us ever agreed to pay taxes. There's no document that says, I'm going to give you half my money. Anyone ever does that to you at all. Anyone takes anything from you, that's theft. Not when the government does it. Right? Murder lands you in jail unless the government gives you a gun, sends you on a plane to a different country and tells you to murder their citizens. Not only that, but there's a propaganda machine behind that, where if you don't support murder, you're anti-American. And here's the fun thing too. If you support America, you're a terrorist and a Trump supporter. All of this is intentional. Confusion at the ultimate end of it all is the main goal. If you can't focus on any one thing without a contradictory thought flowing through your head because you're saying this, thinking this, doing this, and then somebody over here is going to say, think, or do something else, or have an opinion or attack, guess what? You're left in a position where you're locked into essentially uselessness because you're not going to act. You're not going to act. You're not going to take a stance. You're not going to do anything because you don't want to rock the boat. Because you don't feel that you're qualified to do any of that or have any of these thoughts. So we get angry for not rocking the boat. And then also for rocking the boat. And that's more confusion. Every single thing that you've seen on television is confusion. Do we even know why the political parties in Canada and the United States are reversed? If I say red in Canada, that's liberal. If I say red in America, it's conservative or Democrat. I don't even know anymore. There's so many words being thrown around. I don't know. Like, I could go on and on for that. I get confused right now because, like I said, I haven't done the work in my own brain to get this congruently out there, to get this in one beautiful thought out there. So I'm sitting here I'm sitting here right now thinking through this with you as I speak, as I attempt to convey this. We live in a world where mass confusion is the namesake, is the key, is the thing. A world where we aren't able to take a step or make a move because we're afraid. We don't want to admit that we're afraid, which leads to more confusion. The government is not responsible for the confusion. The government is just doing its part, the very part it was programmed to do, to create the confusion. If you and I are fighting over taxes and money and this, that, and the other thing, and we're afraid to make a move, or we're afraid to speak up or say anything to the government, we're not really going to take any time to look into who and what we are, or why we're here, or why we're doing what we're doing. We're not going to take any time to figure out who, I don't want to say who put us here, because here is also a very strong question. Where the hell is here? What is this? Right. The story is we're on a space ball. Fantastic. You believe that? Fantastic. Infinite and ever-growing space. No questions? No worries. Everything's forever expanding. It's infinite. Grand. Cool. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. But you're not allowed to question it. And if you start questioning it, you're deemed crazy. Those who can't question it will make fun of you. A lot of people don't want to be made fun of. I'm okay with being made fun of. Go ahead. Pick on me. Use your logic. I've seen some things in my life. I've asked some questions. I've had some experiences. I have the ability to see past a lot of the bullshit. We never agreed to anything with any government whatsoever. Can we abolish the government? I would hope so. I would hope that more than abolishing the government, we can just dismiss it. It's not hard to topple a government. If everyone just decides that they're going to go independent and no longer pay their taxes, something would have to get done. There would have to be an alteration, change. You can't put everybody in jail, even though I'm sure they want to. Wouldn't that be wonderful? 90% of your population's in jail. And if we think about jail, jail really exists so that you don't believe that you're trapped here. And guess what's inside jail? A smaller jail called solitary confinement. And one of the greatest things that you could possibly do in this world is go inward and understand and comprehend you. Alan Watts talks about a hero dose of psychedelics, 5 grams of mushrooms in a pitch black room. Just you. Have fun. When you go inward, you stop looking externally. And one of the things that people talk about too is the external world is merely a reflection of your internal self, which isn't something that we're allowed to comprehend, because we go to these classes and we do these things, all of which we created, even the government, to help us understand and comprehend that we don't need this. The people in your world, everyone that's helping you get to where you're going, all of the things that you think are drowning you, that are teaching you how to swim, they all exist as they need to exist to help us get to where we need to be. So what is the call to action here? What's the point of me saying all of this right now? It's, I think, just to have people decide that they themselves want to ask questions, that they themselves want to create more from this. And how do we do that? I don't have the answers for you, but you have the ability to ask those questions and create those answers for yourself. I mean, it's only really, truly your world. I saw a meme the other day that says the fact that I haven't died yet is indicative of me being the lead character. And I thought that was fantastic. And that applies to everybody, because we don't even know what death is. You know, we've only ever experienced it secondhand. We've never died that we know of. We've only ever seen people and potentially other things die. We have no real true understanding, comprehension, or anything of what it is. So the best we can do is deduce. Once again, using our brain to create. Once again, using ourselves to comprehend exactly what it is that we think that we're doing when we don't know. Yet we fill in the blanks, he reiterates. Every single thing that we think that we're doing, every single thing in any aspect of anything that we think that we're doing is literally just us thinking. And anything that you think would be a repercussion is just us thinking. And where do we get that information from? A place that we thought up to go looking for information. A library, the internet, our friend Jim from down the street, this podcast. This is why I'm saying don't listen to me. There's a million ways for you to do your own research. There's a million ways for you to look into things. And there's a million ways for us to literally take our power back. And here's the thing, even taking your power back, it's not about us being condemned initially and trying to win in the latter. It's about us continuing the game in which we signed on to play. You see, none of this is really truly evil. All of it exists to create layers of contrast for us to understand who we are better, those that are observing. That includes the NPCs that are in the game that are designed to cause and create confusion. I mean, a simplistic look at this is because the WWF exists as fake, then the UFC must be real. And because acting in Hollywood exists as fake and it's on the television, then by proxy, politics must be real. But the amount of acting that goes on all over the place in every aspect of everything only works towards creating this idea inside our heads of what we're supposed to be inside a world. The real rub again is that we created all of these aspects of everything to help us understand better ourselves. So how do we, I don't want to say break out of this because this is the purpose of it. This is why we're here, in my opinion, which isn't right, but it's where I've gotten to from my experience with the constant trials and tribulations that I fight, the challenges that I go through every day. As somebody who once suffered from anxiety and depression, to living with anxiety and depression, to being virtually free of it for a long time. But when it kicks back in and you have to ask yourself, what are we doing here? What are we learning here? What is the purpose of this? Who am I becoming in the process? How can I do better for myself? There's a lot left open. And when you decide it's up to you to figure out who and what you are and what you need in this world to be a better version of you, the one thing that sort of rattles back throughout my brain in these moments is I need the shit to help me elevate my life. So like I said, this is a shit on the government episode, but it's a shit on the government episode because it pertains directly to you, directly to how you're living and seeing things and experiencing things and doing things, the choices that you're making. We shouldn't have to give away all of our money and then wonder if we're going to be able to afford bread at the grocery store. Why is bread $7? What? Why is our taxes through the roof? What? Why are we being pushed so hard right now? To level up. Essentially, to make the next move, to say, hey, we're done with this version, this archaic version of government. We're done with the way you want to run things. We're done with the media. Right? The easiest thing is to be done with the media because that's all 100% manipulation. All of it. It's all propaganda. Hell, the same guy that sold Dr. Cigarettes sold them the breakfast idea as well. So, what are we supposed to eat? Every expert you ask will tell you that's something different. No matter what desire or diet you decide to take, it's not the right one. So what do? We live in confusion. No matter who you decide to vote for, it's not the right person. And what do? We fight our neighbors because they voted for Hillary or Kamala or Donald or Joe Biden. But then you realize that nobody voted for anybody. I mean, yeah, sure, we're in there doing these things, but it's how do we get the most controversy? Division, fear, segregation, confusion. None of us have the ability to figure out our ass from our elbow because we're afraid of being wrong. We're afraid of offending somebody. We're afraid of rocking the boat. We're afraid of the liberal media machine. We're afraid of being canceled. We're afraid of people asking questions. We're afraid to say whatever we want because there's always some fucking asshole out there that's going to come onto your post and be like, blah, 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 you're a piece of shit. How dare you have these thoughts? Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. They're not real people. There's not a real person on this planet that's going to show up on your feed and shit on you. You know who's going to do that? NPCs, fake people. Those who are not real. And the crazy thing is If you're one of those people that writes bullshit on people's feeds, the understanding and comprehension that you're not a real person would probably break you, which would make you then want to shit on me. Oops. See how that works? Fun. But here we are, living in this moment, having these experiences. I mean, there may seem like there's a bit of angst in my voice right now, but that's because there is. I listen to so many people tell me their stories about how they don't have enough, how they don't feel like they're enough, how in today's day and age, it's not enough. And what happens when you don't feel enough? You vibrate lower. You're not creating properly. You're not creating healthily. You're afraid. And you don't want to admit that you're afraid because then you appear weak. And Lord knows we can't be weak. So we don't ask questions. We don't do things. We just sit here stuck. But real and true change comes from when the desire to grow outweighs the fear of staying the same. We're in pain right now as a collective, but it's changing. It's growing. It's adapting. Inch by inch, piece by piece, step by step. We are adapting and we're getting out of it. I feel it. The tides have turned. We're on our way. And all we can do individually is our best to live with integrity and be a little bit better than we were yesterday. Understand a little bit more. Ask a little bit deeper questions. Not to be afraid. Not to be afraid of the big bad government. Not to be afraid of scare tactics in politics. Not to be afraid of the WEF. Not to be afraid of Mark Carney in Canada being a fucking idiot. Not to be afraid of the robotic Pierre Poilievre. None of them are better than anybody else. The idea now is how do we, you and me, get together and sidestep all of the control measures and see if we can't bust this dream wide open. Ladies and gentlemen, in the infamous words of Red Green, keep your stick on the ice.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Stay connected with us directly through the mentalmasteryalliance.com. You can also join the discussion on Instagram at instagram.com/the Mental Mastery Alliance. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag TMMA or tagging us at the Mental Mastery Alliance. To have your voice heard on the show, leave a voicemail or send a text to 647-338-1265. Long distance charges may apply. If you love us, leave us a review. If you hate us, you spend your time in weird ways, but also leave a review. Every review on iTunes tickles the algorithm, helping us grow. Until next time, unity over division. This concludes the most surreal portion of your day.
You got it, Pontiac.